Hey everyone, I'm Tina McElroy Anza. I'm a novelist, I'm an editor, a teacher, a publisher, a retreat founder, and I'm here as always with my partner and my friend of 55 years, Wanda Lloyd. Hey Wanda, tell the people who you are.
Well, you just did, sis. I'm Wanda Lloyd. Okay, I'll say it the same way you did. Journalist, memoirist, newspaper columnist, and I'm here with my co-host Tina McElroy Ansa. We are freshman year roommates from Spelman and co-editor of our anthology, Meeting at the Table. And as usual, Tina, we have been some busy old chicks.
We have, but you know me, I've been having fun. I've been having fun. We even had we've even seen each other because we had a in-person event in Savannah on the last Sunday, I think it was, and drove up and to Savannah and had a great event. Tell us about the event since it was your event.
Yeah, it was an event of the Links Incorporated. I'm a member of the Savannah, Georgia chapter of the Links Incorporated, and we had a program called an afternoon of I think it was excellence in literacy, and several authors were invited to do a sort of a marketplace of their books and meet with readers. And there was entertainment, there was music, there was storytelling. There was a place where you could pick up free gently used books and just take them home.
There was really good food.
And the food was really good. Yeah.
It was substantial too. I like a good substantial refreshment,
yeah,
you know.
Good. Yeah, it was done by a local restaurant in town. So that was good. And so Tina and I were the part of the main attraction, I guess you would say. It was billed as a meeting at the table with Tina McElroy and Wanda Lloyd, and we just had a conversation. We sat almost like we do here on the podcast, Tina. We just sat, but except we were next to each other and sitting in the same room for a change.
You know what I tell Wanda all the time, y'all? She says, Wanda is prepared, okay? She's going to come with her agenda. She's going to come with her script. She's always prepared. And I tell Wanda all the time, Wanda, all we're doing is talking. We're doing exactly what we do all the other time on our podcast. This is what we talk about, folks.
Yeah. So we talked a little, we started talking about how we met and how we came together. We talked about my memoir, Coming Full Circle from Jim Crow to Journalism, and how Tina helped me sort of put the framework of that together. And I finally listened to her and did what I needed to do to make it happen the right way by writing an outline. We talked about, how we started the conversation on meeting at the table and how that all came about. We've talked about it on the podcast many times before. So I'm sure you guys who've been following us know that story. And then we talked about the fact that this podcast came out of the creation of meeting at the table, because we just worked on Zoom so much, we just kept doing it. But the Links put this together. This was the very first time we've had this event. We are going to do it again, I'm pretty sure. We're already talking about what a success it was and how well attended it was and how many, just wonderful comments we're getting from.
What I have to say, you were saying how well attended it was. Packed. It was not packed. Well attended. It was packed. If there had been more chairs, people would not have been standing around the room, listening to us. Yeah. It was really when you say well attended, one of the things that I noticed, and it was well attended by every generation.
Families came.
There were little kids there in their little matching T-shirts, and there were us, old chicks, everybody in between, new writers, lots of new authors. But the thing that struck me is I met a young poet, a young male poet who came over to the table.
With your novels.
You know what, y'all? It's so funny. You forget who your friends are. One of the speaks of me is Tina. She has no idea that I'm Tina McElroy. So she's always saying, people, they mention your name, and everybody said, "Ooh, yeah, let's, the Hannah family." And then this young man came up. People always bring in their novels because we love a novel. I don't care if it's 100 years old. We want that novel signed if the author is still alive. And this young man came up. His name is Keyshawn, and he finally told me that he was a poet. But what caught our attention, Wanda, was that he had a little dog-eared copy of The Hand I Fan With and a pristine copy, hardback copy of Baby of the Family. And so usually people say The Hand I Fan With is their favorite. He said, "Oh no, He said, I love this book. It was so touching. He sat down for a while and I talked to him about his work, and he talked to me about his work. As a matter of fact, he emailed to me today.
Oh, is that right? Good.
He's a follow-up kind of guy. But so that's what struck me, all those generations there. That really made, for me, that really made it special.
Well, that was
we
really,
were always preaching to the choir,
that was intentional because I think the members who were the committee was very intentional about making sure that they had authors who write children's books and just all the genres, fiction and nonfiction and memoir. There were at least two memoirs that I know about. So it really wasn't.
My little schoolgirl was there, Celeste Holmes, who
Yeah.
wrote looking for hope. Absolutely.
I got to meet her in person for the first. I got to meet her in person for the first time. We'd been emailing and stuff, but I was really happy to meet her. So it was it was refreshing, I think, to see that readers are still out there and readers are still anxious to meet authors and listen to authors. And, we had a little audience down front. There were some chairs down front. There were chairs in the middle. There were chairs in the back of the room. And the people down front, I was just looking at their faces as we were talking, and they were just smiling like, I'm watching two authors and they're talking about the process of putting books together.
It was one, and I went by a number of tables, especially the authors who were selling children's books, and they had sold out. She said, "Oh well, you can take my card." She said, "I said, you sell a lot?" She said, "Oh yeah, I sold a lot." So that always makes us happy. We're in our heart, book people. We're in our heart, writers, journalists, publishers. So anytime we can see folks getting excited, about writing, not just interested, but excited. That was really nice. It was a good outing. It was a good
and then outing. There's this other thing, Tina, the gray.
I was going to tell you, it sounds simplistic, what you said earlier, but about getting out. We've been locked down for a while, in a lot of these events. Like this was the first one in a couple of years, and we forget how wonderful it is to get out into the world and see things and see events. And you, like I said, you and I have been pretty busy, and we also, one of the things for presents that I got for Christmas is 3 new friends over in Brunswick on the mainland. 3 Black women in the last year have moved here to the St. Simons Island area, and 2 of them are our Spelman sisters. One of them has already chartered a alumni association charter
for the national alumni.
And she's the one who also snagged a very difficult to get sometimes reservation at the Gray.
Very difficult to get. Sometimes you have to wait months to get an ideal time, like dinner. Yeah.
Well, she snagged this for us, and then made sure that, I think she made it for 6 or 8 just to make sure. And then she invited me, and then she said, "You think Wanda want to come?" I said, "I think she would." And so that's what we did. It was good to have a community. It's always good to have community and sisterhood and fabulous food.
Good. Well, the Gray is just an award-winning restaurant in Savannah. It was built in the restored Greyhound bus station. That's the name, the Gray. It just has a real history, and it was a building that was closed, really just dilapidated and closed for decades because the Greyhound, the bus, moved to another part of the community. And now it's one of the hottest tourism spots in Savannah. People come from all over the country, I believe all over the world, because
probably all over the world, yeah.
Chef Mashama Bailey has won at least one, maybe I think 2 James Beard Awards, and she's won other awards, and now she's opening another restaurant in Texas.
I was going to say, yeah, they're opening another one in Texas.
Yeah. And then she, of course, she's African-American. And then her business partner, who is a Jewish fellow, his name is John Omorisano. They wrote a book. Speaking of books and being authors, this is their first book as far as I know. The name of the book is Black, White, and the Gray, the story of an unexpected friendship in a beloved restaurant. It came out in 2021, and it really is them telling their story about how this friendship came about, because he's the businessman, she's a chef, and they pooled their interests and their expertise and came to Savannah. She grew up in Savannah. But she moved to New York, and she was chefing. I guess that's a word, a verb, chefing. She was working.
I don't know. Yeah, she was acting as chef for. Okay, yeah.
at a
love that
restaurant
chapter.
in New York, and I don't know, they met and he somehow she convinced him to come to Savannah on vacation, maybe. Anyway, he fell in love and he and his wife moved here. So this book is fabulous because of the way it's told, the story. I've read the book and the stories are told. He does a chapter about, and then she answers his chapter, and they sort of tell the story from their own perspective, which is very different because, as you know, how much I am passionate about understanding diverse cultures and advocating for diversity. They really didn't have a lot in common when they started this process. And so a lot of the stories they tell about how different they are and how they had to learn each other's culture and respect each other's culture. So for folks who are just looking for a really good book, a nonfiction book, and there are some recipes in there. So it's not a cookbook, it's a story, it's a book of stories.
Wanda really likes this book because this is the second time recommending it. You really like it. But when we like a book, you know, we want you to like it too. We want you to at least get the chance to. Well, speaking of these two very interesting people, the chef is from Savannah, and we have talked about her a great deal. You know, they're both guests that we'd love to have on our podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they would make a great guest. Speaking of which, Wanda, do you have any dream guests that you would like to have on the podcast?
You mean besides Michelle Obama or Oprah?
Yes, besides them.
I'm just putting it out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're putting it out in the universe.
Yeah,
we're putting it out in the universe. Yes, exactly. They would be great guests, and we would be great interviewers. You know that.
So, you know, a girl can dream. So those would be my dream guests, but okay. You know, I don't have specific names, but I would like to have a doctor talk to us about some of the current things that we're experiencing as women. I would love to have a veteran because I do have an interest in veterans and veterans affairs, particularly a young female veteran. I would love to have a conversation with a young female. I met a young female, a Navy veteran not too long ago, and it was just very interesting to hear what she had to say.
Hey, I may be able to find you one in the family, girl. I just
there you go. That's right. You got one. You certainly. Well, she's not a veteran.
One who has had a military experience because she and her husband have moved all over the world. You know, and with two children. Yeah.
And then
female. Come to think of it, this story is going to be a lot different from the story that you usually hear.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, you know, I'm just putting it out there. The audience can let us know if you think of a guest you'd love us to have, because we're looking and we're interested. If it's a good interview, we're down for it.
Well, not only that, especially if you have connections with somebody that we might want to have on the show, we want you to holler out, let us know. You know.
So what about you? What's your dream interview guest for Two Old Chicks?
Well, since we're dreaming, you already picked Michelle Obama. I don't know if you said President Obama, but I put him at the top of the list along with yours.
No, I just said Michelle.
Michelle, oh no, I kind of would like. I like to see what's going on in retirement. That would be a very interesting conversation. I also would love to talk with the writer Isabel Wilkerson. You know, who wrote Want of Another Son and Cast, and she's working on. I think she's working on the script for Cast now, or they're filming Cast now.
And you know, you and I saw her. You and I saw her when I was working at Savannah State, because were you there when she was like our keynote speaker? Yeah.
I got to talk to her. She's a journalist like all of us. You know, you probably met her before that time, and I had met her before, but this was when she was just a up and coming, a younger journalist. But I think she's just fascinating. I'd love to hear more about her research and just how her mind works. I'd love to interview filmmaker Ava DuVernay. I think she's brilliant, and I think she's one of the shifters of what we perceived in our time, in the 20th, end of the 20th and the 21st century. You know, I think she's her vision is very expansive, and I'd like to talk with her about that. I'd like to talk to Kamala Harris. I'd love to sit down and say, what's going on, kind of talk. And you laughed at this one when I said it earlier, Juan. You said, who want to talk to the Dalai Lama? I said, I love to talk to the Dalai Lama. I mean, I think I know he has wisdom and kindness, and he has humor, all the things, expertise, all the things that we ask for in a guest. So, that's okay, Dalai Lama, if you're listening to Two Old Chicks podcast.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Hey, Wanda, do you know how I'm always saying that you can tell how anything is going to end by the way it first progresses? Whether it's a new job or a new romantic relationship or a business partnership or even just a business deal, buying a car, for instance, just a business deal. It's all the same. If it's right, things get righter and righter and righter. They get better and better and better. But if it's wrong, girl, you can't fight it. It's just the opposite. It gets wronger and wronger and wrong. You know how we ignore the little signs as it goes on and on. Mm-hmm. But one of the ways that I can tell that, that something is true and right is that, I notice that things happen around it. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. What are we talking about specifically, Tina?
Oh, well, no, I was just asking you generally, Wanda. Did you agree with that? Well, specifically, my sister's students used to say they love learning new words. They were in high school, and she taught them specifically, and she couldn't stop them from saying pacifically every time she said it. They would say pacifically, Mrs. Kerr, and think they were really using a good word. I know you like that as a word. Well, I know about this because the project that we've talked about a little bit here on the podcast is just getting absolutely righter and righter and righter.
Tina, you mean the project that was my idea in the first place?
I was gonna say that. Oh my goodness! I swear, the founders of Spelman are going. Oh, they're clutching their pearls, saying,
"I have my pearls on."
Yeah, I have some here too. I just didn't get them all. But I do know, yes, the project that you instigated, started lit the fire under. Well, let me tell you first about the recap about the McElroy Art Project, my family name. You know that I'm a woman with no children out of my own body, and I have lots of things that are meaningful to me. They may not be valuable to everybody, some of them, but they're valuable to me, and I want to pass them along to my family. And one of the things that are valuable to me monetarily and on a personal level are the artworks that we have by our friend and artist Annabelle Lee Washington. She spells her name Annabellee. And I told you earlier that, I was thinking of how I was going to, distribute my things. And the artwork I didn't want to break up, and I couldn't find anywhere that would show it all.
Tell us, this is a collection that she gave to you and Janae?
No, this is a collection that we collected. We have some. I have some gifts. She has given us some of them, but no, these are ones that we acquired.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But then so over the years, this Annabelle Lee Washington was a dear friend of mine here on St. Simon's Island. You have to Google her and see her beautiful work. Please Google her. That's why I spelled it for you so you would know. And then she's the Annabelle Lee Washington, and she retired from Detroit, where she was a social worker, and discovered she was this beautiful, absolute wonderful. I might be able to do this, can I? Yeah. Oh, I'm trying too much. Hold on. I'm going to do it.
But you know what? We'll go ahead and put one on the YouTube version. Yeah.
Put some on the thing. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's even better. And so we have 18 good works of hers, that are really the pride of our collection. And so I had decided to give a work to each one of my parents' grandchildren, all my nieces and nephews. And it's their job to keep the artwork together. If they want to sell it, to let everybody else know and give them a first right to buy it. So it's a project. I told my nephew about this project, and he came back and told me, I'm working on a project. He bought my parents, his grandparents' family house in Macon, Georgia, and the land around it. And he is doing a development which includes refurbishing my parents' house, the main house. And when they were growing up, they called it the place. I think I've told you that every juke joint and every liquor store my dad ever owned, we just called it the place, going down to the place. And so Kelvin, that's my brigadier general, I've mentioned him before, nephew, is in charge of this project. I told him about it. He's excited. Then he told me about his project of refurbishing my family home, adding on something to the back, you know. I think we talked about this before, and making it the place, making it a family home for people in Macon whose last names are McElroy, which I think is just a real kind thing. And so we decided, and I said, oh, well, goodness, we're going to give the art. And she says, oh, we're going to do we're going to do a reception sometime in the summer, you know, when the house is opened up, you know, maybe you can come. So we just started this huge project. And I was telling you about it, and I was so excited about, you know, finding the right place for art. And of course, my partner. I'm telling y'all, get yourself a partner. I mean this. I told about 5 people at the event on Sunday when we were doing the meeting at the table there. But I told Wanda about it, and I mean, just like that, she didn't stop. She said,
I thought about it, and then I think I called you and I said, Tina, I have an idea. I don't know if you go for this, but Paula Wallace, who is the founder and president of SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, which has campuses all over the world, but they're based here in Savannah. And they have been very good to you and to us. You know,
they've been good to the Seattle Writers Retreats,
and taking after my dear.
Taking after my dear, and coming
and meeting at the table. They helped us with me. They helped us launch, not only design, but launch Meeting at the Table in a virtual way. And I said, what if you were to offer her this collection on loan and have them display it in one of the SCAD museums, and before it goes to your family, because you got some time before the house is ready and before Kelvin is going to be able to do anything with it in terms of family. And Tina reached out to Paula, and they were thrilled, and she turned her over to somebody at SCAD. And the next thing I knew, this guy, what's his name? Daniel. He was on St. Thomas Island.
Let me tell you, this is how you know it's it gets better and better and better. I hadn't thought of that, you know, and I love Paula Wallace. She has done kind things for me as a person and as, you know, as a businesswoman and as a writer. And I hadn't really thought about, you know, about the fact that they would be thrilled to have this. I hadn't thought about it. But as soon as Wanda said it, but let me tell you how she said it. That she said, Tina, I love when she says that, Tina. That means she's going to tell me something. I've been thinking, you know, since you, and when she laid it on, it just made so much sense. I mean, I literally wrote an email. I got a response that evening. She turned it over to someone else. And like 3 days later, he was here looking at the paintings in my house.
I was amazed because you said, well, he's coming today. And the next thing I know, he's doing an inventory. Y'all are going to lunch and you're sitting there creating, well, what can we do? How can we launch it? So tell us a little bit about how this is going to happen, Tina, when it comes back, when it comes to Savannah.
I will indeed. But it happened boom, 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 so quickly and so perfectly. Well, what we're going to do is, I'm just getting my script up. But what we plan to do is the opening of the exhibit goes up on the 5th of February. And on that day, there will also be a Black History Month tour. Exactly. Okay. It's a SCAD tours of how they have impacted Black communities in Savannah, how they had a part in it. And I'm sorry. And they're going to have 3 Black History Month tours on the same day, on February 5th. And I think they're at 11, 1, and 3. You can look it up. We're going to put up the way that you can contact them. This is SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design Museum of Art. Their Museum of Art. And it'll be in the near the theaters, the art galleries theater. As a matter of fact, it's right across. It will be right across from the Linda and Walter Evans gallery, which we talked about before, the wonderful African American couple who donated their collection and they now have a gallery there that is SCAD. So Annabelle will be right across from where you go, turn to the left to go to it'll be to the right. And it will be part of these tours that that I just mentioned. Annabelle, as a matter of fact, is the starting point of the tour. And the tour, then you get on the bus and, go around and see different parts of the parts of Savannah and learn about, Savannah history, African-American history. And so that will be the highlight, as a matter of fact, of the feature of the tour. Also, then on the 25th, 28th, is it 25th or 28th?
It's the
25th.
I think it's 25th. Yeah.
Yes, 25th. Okay, thank you. On the 25th of February, we're going to have a big celebration. SCAD calls it DFINE, DE:FINE, which is all the fine arts of their students, or whoever's being exhibited at that time. But it's a big deal. It's a big celebration, and I was told everybody's invited. So I mean, y'all might want to look that up on the 25th. It is a celebration of all the art and all the contributions and all the products of all these students and artists that that have come through SCAD. And so you'll get a chance to see not only see Annabelle's paintings, but I may even say a few words about them. I'll be happy to do that. Yeah. So we're very excited. So the dates are February 5th for the tour, and the fact that Annabelle's paintings will be going up at that time, and the 25th for.
And then it's going to be up until May 15th. The exhibit will be up through May 15th.
The exhibit will be up from February 5th to May 15th. So you'll have time to see the exhibit. But the celebration, if you want to be a part of the celebration, that's the 5th.
Come to Savannah. Come to Savannah for the 25th.
Oh my goodness. We have a family text, and of course, Kelvin, the brigadier general, is sort of in charge of it. And I put things in there. So I put just the information that, I just shared with you. Oh, it was bing, 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 bing. I said, gosh, my poor phone has never had so many bings. So the McElroys are planning to come. So
okay. I'm going to have to find them a hotel and put everybody in it.
I think you are. Well, this will be the last time that they will see all the paintings together, because after all the paintings are taken down, they don't come back to me. They're going to go straight to my nieces and nephews. So I'm a little sad seeing them come down. I really am.
Well,
but
Tina, I can tell
thrilled that they're going to be in the world.
I am so excited about this exhibit. I'm glad to say that I am an Annabelle Lee Washington collector. I have one, and Shelby and her wonderful husband, Carrie, the Cottons, have one that you gifted them for their wedding. And so I'm going to invite everybody I know in Savannah. So I tell you, SCAD probably doesn't know what's about to hit them, because we're all coming.
Hey, we tried to tell them. We tried to tell them. This is a wonderful thing, though. We're going to give more information and post some photographs of Annabelle's beautiful color saturated. When you say color saturated works, and they also are all about family and church and ritual and baptisms and all of those kinds of things. And they speak not just to Black people, but to all of us.
Dolls.
And doll parties. That's the one that Wanda. I have a doll party too. I think you saw did you see my doll party?
I don't think so, but I'll see it on the 25th.
You'll see it on the 25th. Y'all can all see them on the 25th. Annabelle deserves this. Annabelle passed when she was about 75, and that was in, I can't remember now, that was in maybe 2010, 2015. And she was a fine woman, a fine friend, and an excellent artist. And so again, I'm very proud to share these with my family. Always will be a way to start their fine arts collection.
Right.
It's easier to add to than to get started. I find out sometimes. And so they'll be all beautiful, cleaned up, all reframed for the exhibit, and then they'll take them down, pack them up, and my nephew Kelvin will come with the van and take them off. I'm as satisfied as I can be, Wanda.
Well, Tina, it's time for us to drop some wisdom. So I'll go first.
Okay.
My wisdom is thank a veteran. And I'm married to a veteran. You were married to a veteran. My veteran is, I'm a caregiver for him as well. So when we go out together, we're always together because I do the driving. And we recently went to a doctor's office for him, and a gentleman in the waiting room was just sort of sitting there waiting to be called, I guess, or he might have been waiting for his, somebody in his family. And after we signed in, I noticed the gentleman kept looking at my husband, because every time my husband goes out, he wears a hat that says Navy, or a t-shirt, or a jacket that has a logo that says Vietnam. And he even has bumper sticker on his wheelchair that says something about
Yes, he
military. So there's no denying that he is a veteran.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah,
this
a
gentleman,
proud veteran, as he should be.
yes, he's very proud. And he's proud now because, as you know, because your husband was a Vietnam veteran as well, they were not proud when Vietnam ended. So I'm just so thrilled that people are recognizing them. So this gentleman got up, walked over to my husband, shook his hand, and said, "Thank you for your service." And it was just so heartwarming to be in a place that we didn't expect that, in a doctor's office. And one time, once or twice, we were in a restaurant. This is way before COVID, when we were going out to dinner a lot, and we've had people pay our meal. They tell our server, just bring their check to me, I'll take care of it. And when we get, when we're ready to go, we said, bring the check. The server says, your meal has been taken care of. And they said, thank you for your service. And so I just want to remind people that you don't have to buy people's meals. I'm not saying that that's necessary, but it's enough for a veteran to just hear you say, thank you for your service. And especially even the younger veterans appreciate the older veterans so much. So just remember, thank a veteran when you get a chance.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think you and I talked briefly about how I'm a little shy about saying that. I don't know why. I think it's a little, I don't know what it is, but you have encouraged me to just speak up, because I wanted to say it. And sometimes I kind of pat my heart, and especially when you're in the airports and stuff, as a soldier, you can tell the soldiers who and airmen who are traveling. So I think that's a wonderful reminder. Wonderful reminder.
Tina, I see people holding a door for somebody. I mean, when you're going in and out of a door, people say, thank you for your service. When you're on the elevator, people say, thank you for your service. When you get on a plane or you're in the airport, you're right. People just say, thank you for your service. And that's all. And at first my husband said, I don't know what to say. I said, just say thank you. And he really loves it.
Smile and nod your head, right? Smile and nod your head. That's very sweet. That's
so what about
good news. That's a good reminder. Especially, I love the reminders that make us say, "Oh shoot, right? Yeah, I want to do that." I just had. That's a good one.
Yeah. So what about you? What's your wisdom this time?
Well, I had an epiphany recently from a learned experience. I will admit it was me. It was a teaching moment for me. I realized that the moment that you're being the quote unquote bigger person and forgiving somebody, there's somebody else forgiving you, overlooking your slight. Unfortunately, I had that example brought to me clearly. I was feeling really good about myself, about forgiving somebody. And then I got something and I realized, oh gosh, she's probably had to forgive me for that. I forgot that. I completely forgot it. I didn't do it or whatever. So number one, be gentle with yourself, but keep that in mind, that your forgiveness is good, but be aware that other people are forgiving you, that you have faults, that even habits that make people crazy, and if they forgive, or may even hurt their feelings, or may even, say something against their beliefs. So they're just unintentional kinds of slights. I think it's a good thing for us to remember that when somebody, when we're forgiving somebody, somebody's forgiving us.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Two Old Chicks Who Know a Lot of Shit. If you're on social media, please subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at Chicks Old and Instagram at Two Old Chicks Podcast. As I always say, it matters.
It totally matters. We asked everybody at the event, the live event that we went to, does everybody have, and then they said, they raised hands. Oh yeah, everybody's got, you follow us. So we kind of gave them time to follow us. That's important. Okay, and also remember that the collection of essays that I edited with my partner Wanda, entitled Meeting at the Table, African American Women Write on Race, Culture, and Community, is available at downsouthpress.com. That's downsouthpress.com.
Tina, you're shaking your head. Does it make it easier to say it when you do that?
It's kind of, when you say it, I like to say it, but you say it with me, because I sometimes I have flubbed it in the past, and Wanda has said it with me, so I can see your lips moving when I'm saying it. Oh gosh, this has been a good show, hasn't it, Wanda?
Yeah, it has been fun.
Episode. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, that's all we have for today. So bye-bye, everybody. Love, love.
Bye-bye. Take care. Love and peace.